This is News at 8.
This is a primetime news bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. Coming up, 25-year-old suspect arrested in connection with death of female banker confesses he was contracted to kill her. Information and Media Relations Minister accused of lying over his comments on the disbursement of the Media Development Fund. President Mahama returns home after his latest international trip, which also took him to South Africa for the funeral of the late anti-apartheid icon Nelson Mandela. Concerns grow about the fate of children caught in paternity wars as Kolebu DNA Center sees a spike in number of doubting parents' clientele. A local study confirms productivity increases amongst employees whose companies are more concerned about their welfare. We also have sports, showbiz and international news coming up.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
In our very first story, a 25-year-old suspect held by the police over the murder of a 32-year-old banker at Bachon, a suburb of the capital Accra, says he was contracted to kill Rosemond Akosua Nyampong. Police investigators say they found the vehicle and other household items of the deceased with the suspects. They, however, say the accounts of the detainee are conflicting. Rosemond Nyampong, who worked with Stanbic Bank and lived alone, was found dead in her room on November 21 with her mouth taped. She had not been seen at work or in public for days, prompting her colleagues and family members to begin a frantic search for her until she was discovered dead in her kitchen and lying in a pool of blood. 3 persons were initially picked up by the police, but only one was found to have links to the murder. The 2 have subsequently been released. According to the police, most of the things stolen from the residence of the deceased, including her car, home theater and mobile phones, were found in the residence of the suspect, a welder by profession. He is due to reappear in court on December 23. Rosemond, the first of 5 children, is said to have lost her father about 6 months ago. She'll be buried on Saturday, December 14. President John Mahama arrived in the country today from South Africa, where he joined thousands of mourners and other world leaders for the memorial service of Nelson Mandela. The president had earlier been to Paris, France, for the Elysee Summit on Peace and Security in Africa, and then to New York for the Chinua Achebe Leadership Forum, which was truncated so he could join his colleague leaders in South Africa. He was welcomed home by Vice President Kwesi Arthur and some other government officials. In an interaction with media personnel on arrival, President Mahama said the passing of Mandela should mark the beginning of an era to promote economic development on the continent.
On behalf of the government and people, I had the opportunity to express our condolences to the President, the government and people of South Africa on the passing away of President Nelson Mandela. We called on President Zuma and paid our condolences, and also called on his widow, Gracia Machel, and paid our condolences to her. I mean, everybody knows what stature Mandela has, and he, together with the great Africans like Kwame Nkrumah, Nyerere, and all the others who fought for African liberation. I think that with Mandela's passing, you know, that era of African liberation is literally over. And the next challenge that faces the continent is how to promote economic development, create jobs for young people, and create prosperity and a decent life for all our people. I think that the legacy and the lesson he leaves is that everybody comes, does his bit, and leaves it to the next generation to continue. As I said, nobody has a divine right to rule, and you come, you do your bit, you go, and let somebody else come and continue.
President Mahama, who was also present at the memorial service at the FNB Stadium in South Africa, shared some thoughts about the much talked about historic handshake between American President Barack Obama and his Cuban counterpart Raul Castro, whose country has been slapped with sanctions by the U.S.
He had the knack for bringing people together, uniting people. As you remember, when he came out of prison, one would have thought that he would come out a very bitter person, but he instead said that South Africans should live in peace, no matter what their color or their creed. And he worked towards creating a South Africa that was at peace with itself, with all its people living together. And so even in life, he had a knack of uniting people. And so in death, it's not unusual that we saw President Obama shake hands with Raul Castro. And I believe that was sensational, because everybody knows that Cuba and America, since the Cold War era, have been at loggerheads with each other. I hope that that's a signal of a new era, and that it will lead to the lifting of the blockade that has been placed on Cuba over all these years.
The leadership of Parliament, led by the Speaker, has signed the Book of Condolence open for Nelson Mandela, the residence of the South African High Commissioner to Ghana. The House, which is expected to rise on Wednesday, December 18, also continues to approve appropriations in the 2014 budget.
The Speaker arrived in the company of the Minority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu and the former Majority Leader Cletus Avoka and other parliamentary staff. In his remarks on arrival at the ambassador's residence, the Speaker, Doa Jahu, applauded the choice made by the late Nelson Mandela after his release from prison.
For somebody to be in that cell for all these years and come up and reconcile those who treated him that way, maybe only Jesus Christ will be ahead of such a person. And therefore, when people describe him as a saint, I think that they are not very far from being wrong. So we need to celebrate his life.
The other leaders also had some kind words for the anti-apartheid icon.
Tears of his family, the people of South Africa, will still not be enough to ferry him to the greater beyond. So we are here to mourn with you, to console you, and to stand with you.
What is even of significance is the fact that we should remember his leaders and then live by it. Forgetting of what he stood for and what he has done is not enough. So we, those who are still living, whether in government or out of government, whether in leadership or out of leadership, should appreciate what he has left behind. Humility.
The ambassador expressed gratitude for honor done Mandela by Parliament when the members for over an hour eulogized him in the chamber.
I want to express our heartfelt gratitude to the people of Ghana for being with us during this very, very difficult times. That Africans in their collective were there with us during these difficult times. And we think we will have a commemorative event on Saturday at the Accra International Conference at 11 to just give the people of Ghana an opportunity to say farewell to Mandela.
Meanwhile, the House has approved of some budget allocations, including 3,483,805 Ghana cedis for the Public Services Commission and 279,656,034 Ghana cedis for the Ministry of Lands, Natural Resources, among others.
The controversy surrounding the 1 million Ghana cedis Media Development Fund has taken another twist, with the executive director of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, Gerald Ankra, accusing Information and Media Relations Minister of perjury. According to him, the comments by Mama Yarega, which suggested that GIBA was part of a meeting during which a decision was taken to distribute laptops to media organizations, is untrue. The minister was explaining the disbursement of the fund in Parliament, but Gerald Ankra has denied the assertions that GIBA was part of any such meeting.
On April 10th, 2013, my attention was called to publications in the Daily Graphic and the Daily Guide to the effect that some consignments of laptops have been, distributed, Giba inclusive. I'm again taken aback when this morning my attention was called to the effect that another statement, that a statement had been made to a much bigger body, that is Parliament, on Giba receiving a consignment. We have not received any, offer, much more to accept. And as we are talking today, I am telling you emphatically that Giba has not received a single laptop. We've not even had any offer whatsoever. So find out where the laptops are.
Meanwhile, some journalists have been speaking on the issue.
Well, I'm aware some time ago I heard GGA got some of these laptops. I don't know who got them, and last year those of us who won GGA were told we got some uhurus, but I cannot tell whether those uhurus were from this media fund or whatever. So I cannot tell exactly where those laptops have been taken to.
To be honest, I don't know what it is, this fixation with laptops. There are lots of people who don't work in the media, who are not there are lots of people who don't work in them, people who are doing all sorts of things. They are able to afford laptops. I don't think that's what the media needs. I think what the media needs is to be structured in terms of the training, in terms of where the funds should go to. For instance, the Ghana Journalists Association, we have our secretariat. What kind of technological structures do we have there so that when we are covering elections or whatever, that you can go there and be sure that, yes, this is comparable to any standard anywhere else in the world. It's for development. So let's channel the resources into areas which will also advance media development so that we can see a spill-on effect. I think that's what is most important. I don't think laptops are going to do that.
I don't know. I mean, those are questions that are still being asked. I think the GJ today asked questions also. The Giba also is asking questions. I think bottom line, we need transparency. So government needs to be more careful in putting out information broken down that can be verified. I think that's what we need, because other than that, it will become another scandal. Scandals fueled by lack of information more than anything else. So if they have indeed spent money, if the fund was operational, they didn't tell us. They should tell us. Why didn't you tell us? Where's the transparency? What do you use it on? How many laptops? They've mentioned how many laptops. The question is about whether all the money, I'm told is 1 million CDs or so, was indeed spent on the laptops, or other monies went somewhere else, etc. So those are questions that need to be asked. Bottom line, we need transparency.
Maybe then that earlier announcement didn't come, because I remember the last time I heard about from the minister, we got the understanding that the seed money or the fund is not operational because the necessary funds, quote unquote, hasn't come in yet. So maybe over the past 2 weeks, something has come in and they went ahead to purchase these laptops. But again, everybody would have thought that the minister would have come out to announce that now the money is in. These are the trustees of this fund. This is how you can access or get support from this fund. It would have been nice, well, but if that is what they are saying, quite interesting.
Yes, the best thing to do is to leave the fund to the journalist. If you allocate money to, let's say, a particular ministry or a particular agency, the central government does not keep the money and then disperse it. So if you are giving this money to the media, I think a body made up of the Media Commission, GGA, GIBA, and Primpac, all of those media-related institutions should come together and manage this fund. But if you leave it in the hands of government, every government has their own favorite media houses and journalists, so it may end up being used to promote a particular cause.
We're taking a break. We have more stories coming up. Don't go away. A lot more parents are seeking confirmation on the paternity or otherwise of the awards from the DNA Center at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. From an annual rate of about 150, the center is handling almost 800 as at December 2013, with patronage likely to spike following recently published high-profile cases. Now, though this means good business for the centre, there is growing concern that the outcome of these tests is leaving a trail of destruction, with children having to bear the brunt. Eric Curtis Howard in the following report explores the subject of paternity testing. With my caution, be careful what you wish for.
It used to be the case until a few years ago that most parents, especially fathers, after their spouse's deliver, only need to see some semblance in the looks of the baby to convince themselves that they are indeed their true parents. The availability of the DNA technology at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has however changed all that as far as Ghanaian parents are concerned, as they now have it within their reach, an option which was otherwise quite expensive. Dr. Theophilus Adiku, acting head of the immunology department, which operates the DNA laboratory, explains you no longer have to wait for your world to grow up before you use their physical appearance, such as height, looks, or skin color, to determine whether they are yours biologically.
No. Currently, we use what we call the areas that we test. We call them the locus of the gene. So this genetic locus, plural is loci. We test 16 loci, 16, and all the 16 must come out positive. If one is negative, we reject the result.
Dr. Diku says there have been quite a number of male and female clients walking in to verify the paternity or maternity of their wards. Most of their cases, however, are referrals from the courts. A sizable number of the requests that come to them, he adds, is also from the embassies for persons seeking to migrate to join their relatives abroad.
If you are coming with the child without the mother's consent or secretly, normally this center doesn't have such policy. We don't want to have, because that could also be abuse of the child. Okay, so there's a law, there's a law about our children. So this center have a policy, we have a protocol that doesn't also allow that. So you need to, if the mother cannot, there must be legal counsel or rep to represent that child that indeed you come in, not that you can smuggle the child and then come and say, Dr. Deku, I want to check this in there.
The findings of these tests have consequences. Fathers cease to bear responsibility for children. We've always called them daddy, with consequences for the mothers of such children, or in some instances, mothers suing hospitals over claims their babies may have been swabbed at birth. Dr. Theophilus Adiku believes the consequences for the children especially can be damning.
There are cases where a child may know a man as a friend. The parents, people, the relatives introduce this a friend, but somebody, it happens that he might be the father. So he grows up knowing this man as a friend of the family, not knowing that he is actually his father. So if the child gets to know this, you can see the emotional trauma, stress that the child will undergo. So such cases, we may have to counsel them separately, and then after the test, if it proves positive, we just release the cases, the results to the courts, and then they will then determine the...
So, will you cough up the 950 Ghana cedis needed to verify the paternity of a child you've always believed to be yours, if you have reason to suspect otherwise?
DNA test and say, if you are seeing now, be at was some say, DNA test now, and Kola we say, and your ma now if you do what you want, we say, Akola when your back, me once watch and I'm gonna do a certain stage via or secondary school, be a school. We have been investing in that. No, way, I can say your ma. Me, I was working. Tom Ben, I'll be some of you. I'm was saying, young Kola said, you only I was soon queen. Tipping Conquer Crana and the problem be about. I dare out and who I odia, who crowd you may crowd to me, I show. Until when you're crossing a cocoa crowd. Because I dare out and I odia. Tell me, blood is thicker than water.
These others, however, will want to, even though not all of them are eager to throw out the children they find not to be theirs.
Society no credit ni no credit ni man no credit ni firstborn for about 95% yamam for there. Your second born was a rare child. But you just hey, I thank God. Send you become a and I so what do I feel not channel so will be the child.
Now, if this report is making you to take another look at a child and makes you want to visit the DNA center, you may want to think twice. As they say, what you don't know won't kill you. Reporting for Joy News, Eric Curtis Howard.
Indeed, what you don't know won't kill you. Now, the Cape Coast School for the Deaf needs more classroom blocks and dormitories to be able to accommodate the many applicants on its waiting list. Authorities say they are currently severely constrained by space, explaining the classrooms, which should ideally contain 15 students, now hold about 40.
The authorities maintain no more students can be admitted until those in Form 3 pass out. The coordinator of the school's health and education program, Martina Blo, told Joy News in an exclusive interview, inadequate infrastructure is seriously affecting effective teaching and learning as the few classrooms are packed beyond capacity. She therefore called for the expansion in infrastructure so they can accommodate a lot more of the handicapped children, especially because such children will otherwise be neglected by society. Martina Blo explains the school also does not have enough resources to cater for the close to 500 students who depend solely on the school for their upkeep.
And the classrooms, the normal size should be 15 children in the class. But now you go to a class, you have about 30 or 40 students in the class. So we need the infrastructure to... the children, they don't pay fees. And their parents, because they are handicapped, they neglect them. So we need financial support. And material support. Can it be food, books, clothing, drugs, anything that human beings need? We need that support.
One of the students, Hannah, laments in sign language. The Central Region branch of Zoom Lion, a waste management company, has meanwhile donated assorted items after cleaning up the school. Georgina Pierce reports.
A 13-year-old girl who was recently rescued from serving as a fetish slave may just end up in that situation again. This is because the media spotlight, though led to a rescue, has brought teachers at her school trouble. Her enraged parents are said to be threatening the teachers with juju and curses.
The parents, after Joy News aired the story, took it out on the teachers, accusing them of inviting journalists to blow up their daughter's case. It's since become a daily ritual for the parents and other relatives to hail abuses and curses at the school, to the extent that the chief of the area has had to intervene. The end of the school term this week, the teachers say, will come at a great relief to them. They are, however, not so sure about Angela, as with none of them available to seek her interest, she may be sent back to the shrine. At the heart of the parents' frustration is the fact that they've been denied the wealth that would have come with Angela's initiation into Chokoshi. Meanwhile, Chokoshi tradition also states that another virgin will have to be sacrificed to the shrine should anyone have carnal knowledge of Angela having been already dedicated. A flouting of this custom, it is believed, will result in mysterious deaths in the community. Angela, at this point, badly needs support from wherever. Komlado's report.
All right, up next, we bring you business news. What?
We do apologize for the loss of sound there, but it's time for some business reports, and I'm Abigail Adumakunchi. Now, a study by the Employee Wellbeing Program of the German NGO GIZ has established productivity amongst workers significantly improves in companies that pay more attention to staff welfare. The study, involving the monitoring of the staff of 8 local companies which enrolled in the initiative in October 2010, showed that requests for sick leave also reduced along with expenditure on the medical bills of staff.
The Employee Wellbeing Program, an initiative of GIZ, seeks to better the lives of workers and their families, as well as help organizations maintain a strong workforce whilst increasing profits.
Behind employee well-being, for me, the first thing what I see is prevention. Secondly, what I also see, well-being is going beyond health. It's not only health. If you don't have a health insurance, then you don't have maybe access to the health service. What will happen? You will not get access to health service, so it will have an impact on your health. What about if your financial situation is not well organized? Can you have a health insurance? Can you go to the hospital? No. So employee well-being, there is health, there is social protection, there is financial wellness, all inside.
According to the Media and Public Relations Manager of UT Holdings, one of the beneficiaries, simply paying salaries and pension contributions is not enough.
This employee well-being that we're talking about here moves beyond just paying salaries and paying SNIT contributions. You want to educate your staff on their financial well-being as well. How are we preparing our people for retirement? Are we waiting till the last minute on the 58th birthday before we train them on retirement planning, or what? And then there are a lot of young people coming up now who are going in for consumer financing here and there. How are we planning our finances, which is part of the employee's well-being? Because if the employee is indebted, they will start embezzling.
Sophia Lisa adds the program is sustainable so long as management makes the staff a part of its corporate social responsibilities.
The only aspect of it that is a bit of a challenge is the public sector. How are companies buying into this? And that is why at this moment we are advocating for the enactment of an employee well-being policy countrywide, so that every organization, public or private, would accept it and adopt it and incorporate it in their business activities.
The program, in the 3 years of its existence, has not only concentrated on the well-being of employees of participating companies. The communities where these companies operate have also benefited from free health screening, distribution of condoms and treated bed nets, as well as discussions on health and social issues, among others.
Well, some cane weavers here in Accra are worried about the future of the sector if government does not come to their rescue. A number of them who have been speaking to Joy News say apart from a dip in their sales, the levies charged on their exports is driving them out of business.
Most of these cane weavers have been in this business for more than 10 years, weaving furniture, baskets and other items from rattan and bamboo. Business, they say, used to be lucrative some years ago until recently, when they had to stop exporting their products due to the high import levies. We caught up with 41-year-old Wafa Kwabna, who has been in the business for 20 years.
Personally, I don't be called I'm cotton, but to say the business now close and I make us say the minimum the amana brick Emma because first need the Naka, but to say the.
He added, many of the youth he trained have left the business to engage in other commercial activities since they find that more lucrative.
Because oh, I've been multi-mission. I do our perfect no 1.5 years, no way. We were 2 years. We were crazy, no way.
Christmas used to be a season for making a lot of profits, especially with the sale of baskets for hampers. But Patrick Kusi, who has also been in the business for 10 years, say they are not so sure about this Yuletide, especially following the government's directive against the distribution of hampers by governments, departments and agencies.
Especially hampers, ministries, governments, companies, workers. Now this year government, Abama order say, the Amabusian Koboy, the year, baskets, boss, baskets are over 5,000 million from them, and to be to a man, to be family, say, make a Bambusan Koji. See, may find quite crime first one meet here, ending of this month is Omoji. Agreement, you see me baskets, name boss, I mean, one cry, made them akutia.
They appealed to government to assist them in exploring more opportunities in the business and take another look at the exports levies. Matilda Wemega's report for Joy News.
As part of efforts to promote the use of bamboo and rattan in the country, the International Network for Bamboo and Rattan has been engaging some stakeholders in the sector. According to the West Africa Regional Coordinator Michael Kweku, the workshop will provide a platform for stakeholders to deliberate on issues geared towards boosting the country's economy.
Bamboo products such as plywood, flooring and furniture is believed could help transform the Ghanaian economy and improve livelihoods, but the lack of knowledge and skills and poor technology continues to be a constraint to the sector. Recognizing the potential of bamboo and rattan and the role that it can play as an alternative to timber and boost the economy, the International Network for Bamboo and Rattan has been engaging some stakeholders to identify sustainable ways of developing the sector.
And we noticed that bamboo can equally replace whatever product that wood can be used for. Taking experience in Asia, China, India, and then probably Indonesia. So we realize that Ghana also endowed bamboo resources, which we can take opportunity of. That's why we are trying to bring all stakeholders to brainstorm, discuss, and see how best we can catch up with the development of bamboo in Asia, and then so that we can make economic benefit, both economic, environmental, and socio-economic benefit of bamboo in Ghana and other West African member countries.
Michael Kweku adds a better clear-cut policy and partnership will help.
Bamboo offers strong support for the economy of Ghana, and that's why I'm encouraging the private sector in particular and to learn what is happening in Asia and to tap into this potential resource, or we call the potential gold, so that people can now take advantage and plant bamboo and they can earn money from that one. Yeah, so the future looks very bright for that if we are all taking it on board to support it.
A speech read on behalf of the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources by Gifty Mahama Bira said government is still making conscious efforts by way of policy to boost the bamboo sector.
The government of Ghana considers the protection and sustainable management of its natural resources as one of its top priorities and has designed various policies, strategies and programs to achieve it. The new Forest and Wildlife Policy 2012, the review of Ghana's energy policy, among others, are all aimed at addressing the underutilization of lesser-known species such as bamboo. The government of Ghana is particularly pleased about the unflinching relationship that exists between IMBA and Baradem and their common resolve to enhance the livelihood of ordinary people through the development of bamboo and rattan small and medium-scale industries.
The International Network for Bamboo and Rattan has over the years trained a number of youth in the use of bamboo and rattan production.
Well, Managing Director of the Precious Minerals Marketing Company Limited, Ruben Damte, has called for greater investments in gold, noting the industry is still lucrative despite a sharp drop in prices. The commodity from a high of nearly $1,700 at the beginning of 2013 is now selling at about $1,200.
The sharp decline in price has, however, not made the price of jewelry any cheaper on the Ghanaian market, except goldsmiths say there's been a significant drop in the number of patrons. The owners of some jewelry shops in Accra we visited are not eager to speak on camera, but say an 18-carat wedding band for the groom, on the average, sells for about 400 Ghana cedis, with a 14-carat ring going for some 300 Ghana cedis.
For us, it's not significant to change our pricing in terms of jewelry, but it's good because the small scalers then can sell their gold, because most of them are holding some stocks which they bought during the low. So I think it should help us in terms of export demands.
The Precious Minerals Marketing Company Limited is reeling from the impact of the slump as it has affected its revenues.
We all anticipated gold price would stay at the levels within the first quarter. Then it all suddenly dropped into the 1200s, which was a vast revenue loss to us. That's why I'm saying if it had happened in June, at least we could have recouped some of our losses and then be able to match our budget, our estimated revenue budget, both for us and of course for the country. The country needs the gold proceeds for its development. And as you are aware, this drop causes a national revenue drop.
He, however, explains why there is still very good prospects in the precious metal.
The drop also has an advantage. You can buy your gold now as an investment and sell it when it begins to yield. And for those of you out there, we are doing scrap gold, so you can bring in your all jewelry, your coins, your cases, and this we buy and pay for instantly. So despite the drop, people are wearing rings and other things, so they are rich. So we do, this is a new line we've introduced, at least in terms of people knowing that scrap gold is also, valuable on the market.
He adds that they remain hopeful demand for jewelry over the holidays may drive prices up before the year ends.
Well, that'll be all for business. I'm Abigail Adumakwenchi. Sports is up next.
Start with boxing tonight, and Ghana boxing legend Azuma Nelson, who won gold in the 1978 Commonwealth Games after defeating Zambia John Chichula in the featherweight class, says the country's representatives at next year's Commonwealth Games in Glasgow are incapable of winning medals, and explains the intensive preparation he underwent en route to winning the gold medal 36 years ago cannot be compared to what exists.
That time the government they prepare us very, very well, so we have the confidence that we're going to bring the gold or silver or bronze, but this time they are not prepared well, so anything that is good, you do it with money, nothing good comes easy. So if we want to have a medals, any medal, whether bronze or silver or gold, we have to, put money inside. I don't think they can get any medal. I wish, but see, it's like your child is going to a school and another child is not going to school, and then you went to the examination with those two children going to examination. What do you expect? Because another country, they are preparing them, and we are here and they are not preparing us, and we wake up and go to Commonwealth Games and say that we're going to bring medals. It's like we are joking. It's like we are going to help some people to get the medals.
Right, let's get into the world of soccer now. An ex-Liberian international, George Opongwea, is backing Africa's contingent at next year's FIFA World Cup in Brazil to make a meaningful impact at the World Soccer Fiesta. Now, Ghana, Algeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast and Nigeria have their work cut out after landing their opponents at the group stage of the competition. The three-time African Footballer of the Year and once FIFA World Player of the Year, however, indicated success won't come easy.
If I could predict victory, I would tell you that we will win. But again, it's hard work, it's preparation. I just hope that our 5 African countries prepare to go to the World Cup. They did very well in South Africa. They represented well, most especially Ghana. But I hope that they go beyond what they did. And I hope all of our FAs, those who are responsible, for Africa or going there to represent us. We'll do everything, putting mechanism that will help us, even go to final. I know it's not an easy task, but it's achievable. Nothing is impossible. So Africa, when they prepare well, I'm sure we'll have a surprise in the World Cup. I just hope for the best for Africa. And we will be rooting for them. We'll be cheering them.
Right, a lot is happening on the local scene as well. Accra Hearts of Oak have been handed a too-much home ban and fined 3,000 Ghana cedis by the FA Disciplinary Committee after it found the Phobians guilty of 6 counts of misconduct by their supporters in the November 3 Premier League game at Accra Stadium. The Ghana FA Disciplinary Committee has found Hearts of Oak guilty on 6 out of 7 counts of misconduct by their supporters. Hearts of Oak were charged for the incidents that occurred during the Premier League fixture against Ken Faisal at the Accra Stadium on November 3, 2013. Supporters of the club engaged in misconduct acts contrary to Article 35.4, 35.9 and 39.7b. The Disciplinary Committee has therefore imposed on Accra Hearts of Oak a too-much home ban on its use of the Accra Sports Stadium and a fine of 3,000 Ghana cedis. The Ghana Football Association and the Premier League Board, in calculating the ban, will include the home match bans already served by reason of the Executive Committee's decision to close the venue after the said match. Meanwhile, Midyama SC will play their 2014 CAF Confederations Cup home matches at the Sipon Stadium near Sekindi. This means that the Mauve and Yellows will embark on a 1-hour drive from their Takwa base to Sekindi. Midyama will be making their debut in the continent's interclubs competition after winning the 2013 MTN Ghana FA Cup and have fortified their squad with 5 signings for the second round of the season. That's how we end sports tonight. My name is George Addy Jr. Israel will join us with international news. You have a good evening.
Brown. The movie does not only see her in the lead role, but also sees her taking on the role of director and producer for the very first time.
I want to talk to you today about drugs.
The Ghanaian actress Nadia Buari disclosed at a press preview of her new self-produced movie, The Diary of Imogen Brown, that the movie will hit the cinemas on the 23rd of this month. Nadia shared with us some of her challenges during the making of The Diary of Imogen Brown.
It was very difficult. It took a long time. We did 2 months or 3 months auditions, and because I didn't want to use any known face. It was a risk I wanted to take, I just wanted to use entirely different casts and not casts who people are used to, So it took a while, but we got some great talents after. Yeah. You know what? Because directing, producing, and acting, it's a Herculean task, and because you'd be behind the camera and you'd be in front of the camera and you have to control what's behind. And that's why I had the assistance of my mother. So she has she actually had the other eye,
Now, is it just me or she's beginning to sound and look like Michael Jackson? That's it for Showbiz. That's it for the bulletin. Before I go, though, a quick run through our top stories. 25-year-old suspect arrested in connection with death of female banker confesses he was contracted to kill her. Information and Media Relations Minister accused of lying over his comments on the disbursement of the Media Development Fund. President Mahama returns home after his latest international trip, which also took him to South Africa for the funeral of the late anti-apartheid icon Nelson Mandela. Concerns grow about the fate of children caught in paternity wars as Kolibu DNA Center sees a spike in number of doubting parents clientele. A local study confirms productivity increases amongst employees whose companies are more concerned about their welfare. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Israel Lion.